Ravi sat on the old wooden bench outside his school, clutching a crumpled sheet of paper. His hands trembled as his eyes scanned the red ink sprawled across the top. Fail. The word glared back at him like a cruel reminder of everything he wasn't. Around him, students laughed and celebrated their results, their joy echoing through the schoolyard. But inside him, there was only silence. That evening, he walked home slowly, every step heavier than the last. His mother opened the door with a warm smile that faded the moment she saw his face. She said nothing, only placed a hand on his shoulder and led him inside. Later that night, she spoke softly. Ravi, one failure doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're learning. Ravi nodded, but her words sank only halfway into his heart. Days passed. The world seemed to move on, but Ravi couldn't. He stopped meeting his friends, stayed away from cricket practice, and barely touched his books. Doubt had become his shadow. One afternoon, while sitting by the riverside, he noticed a small ant struggling to climb a rough patch of ground. It tried once and slipped back, then again, and again. Ravi counted. 7 times that tiny creature fell, yet each time it climbed again. Finally, it reached the top and vanished into the grass. Something stirred inside him at that moment, a small spark he hadn't felt in weeks. He returned home and pulled out his textbooks. One more try, he whispered. That night, the faint glow of his study lamp burned long after everyone else slept. It wasn't easy. Concepts blurred, formulas refused to stick, and exhaustion bit at his eyes. But whenever frustration crept in, Ravi closed his eyes and pictured that little ant refusing to give up. Over the next few months, he worked relentlessly. He sought help from teachers, watched online tutorials, and solved question after question. Slowly, things began to make sense. Small successes, answering a tough problem, improving his mock test scores, gave him strength. Every step forward, however small, felt like a quiet victory. When exam season returned, Ravi entered the hall with shaking hands but a strong heart. This time, he wasn't there to prove anything to anyone, only to himself. As he turned the first page, the questions looked familiar, not because they were easy, but because he had faced their patterns before. He knew what struggle felt like. He had trained for it. He wrote steadily, page after page, confidence growing with every answer. Months later, when results were announced, Ravi hesitated before checking the board. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath and looked. His name was there, among the top scores. He blinked, hardly believing it. A flood of relief and joy washed through him. The same boy who had once given up on himself was now being congratulated by teachers and friends. At home, his mother hugged him tightly, tears of pride in her eyes. "See," she said with a smile, "you just needed to keep going." Ravi realized then that success was not about being the best. It was about refusing to stop. It was about failing, falling, and standing again until life itself got tired of testing you. Years later, when Ravi became a motivational speaker, he often told his story to students who felt lost. He would describe that small ant at the riverside and how its persistence had changed his life. "The world doesn't owe you success," he would say, "but it will respect your effort. Every time you rise after falling, you build something inside you that nobody can take away." And when people asked him the secret to moving forward in hard times, he smiled and said, "Don't wait for the perfect day or the perfect chance. Work with what you have, start small, and never give up. Because the difference between dreamers and achievers isn't talent. It's the courage to try again after failing. Ravi's story became a reminder to everyone who heard it that defeat only lasts as long as you let it. No failure is permanent unless you stop trying. Life may test your patience, but persistence always finds a way through.